Imagine walking into your own home, the place where you built your dreams, only to find everything shattered in an instant. That's how it started for me. My name is Emily, and I thought I had the perfect life with Alex, the man I called my soulmate. But one rainy afternoon, as I came home early from work, I heard voices, whispers that didn't belong. My heart pounded as I crept up the stairs, each step feeling like a mile. What I saw through the crack in the bedroom door changed everything. There he was, my Alex, tangled up with another woman, laughing like I didn't even exist. The betrayal hit me like a wave, drowning me in shock and pain. How could the man who promised me forever do this? I froze, my world crumbling. But in that moment, something inside me sparked. Not just hurt, but a fire for justice. Little did I know, this was the beginning of a revenge that would leave everyone speechless. Stick with me, because this story is about to unfold in ways you won't believe. As I backed away quietly, tears streaming down my face, I didn't scream or confront them. No, I needed time to process. That night, I pretended everything was normal when Alex came downstairs, acting like the loving husband he pretended to be. "Hey babe, how was your day?" he asked with that charming smile. I forced a grin, my mind racing. Who was she? How long had this been going on? I spent the next few days in a haze, going through the motions at my job as a graphic designer. But inside, I was piecing together the puzzle. I started noticing the little things, the late nights at work, the secretive phone calls, the way he guarded his phone like it was a treasure. Suspense built in my chest every time I thought about it. Was this the first time, or had my entire marriage been a lie? I had to find out, and what I uncovered next would push me to the edge. Late one night, while Alex slept soundly, I slipped into his study and accessed his laptop. Password? Our wedding date. Ironic, right? Emails popped up. Messages from Sarah, filled with plans for secret getaways and promises of a future together. My stomach twisted. Sarah was his coworker, the one he always talked about as just a friend. Photos attached showed them in places we'd never been as a couple. The anger bubbled up, but I held it in. Why her? What did she have that I didn't? I copied everything to a hidden drive, my hands shaking. This wasn't just a fling. It was a full-blown affair that had been going on for over a year. The betrayal stung deeper than I imagined. How many times had he looked me in the eyes and lied? As I closed the laptop, a plan began to form in my mind. Not rash, but calculated. I wasn't going to let this destroy me. No, I was going to turn the tables. The days blurred into a mix of pretend normalcy and secret investigations. I confided in my best friend Lisa over coffee one morning. "Emily, you have to leave him," she urged, her eyes wide with concern. But leaving felt too easy. He needed to feel the weight of what he'd done. I started following Sarah on social media from a fake account, learning her routines, her weaknesses. She was ambitious, climbing the corporate ladder at the same firm as Alex. That's when it hit me. Their affair wasn't just personal. It was tangled in their professional lives. Rumors at his office whispered about favoritism, how Alex had pulled strings to promote her. My mind raced with possibilities. Could I expose this without ruining myself? The suspense of what might happen kept me up at night. I imagined the look on his face when the truth came out, but I had to be smart, patient. Little by little, I gathered more evidence. Receipts from hotels, text screenshots, even a voice recording from his phone. Each piece fueled my resolve. Betrayal like this deserved more than tears. It deserved a reckoning. As the weeks passed, I played the part of the oblivious wife perfectly. We went to dinners with friends, held hands in public, but inside, I was plotting. One evening, Alex surprised me with flowers. "For the best wife ever," he said, kissing my forehead. The irony made me want to laugh bitterly. Did he feel guilty, or was this just another act? I accepted them with a smile, but my thoughts were on the bigger picture. I contacted an old college friend who worked in HR consultant, asking hypothetical questions about workplace affairs. She confirmed what I suspected. If exposed properly, it could shatter careers without direct violence. No one gets hurt physically, but the truth? That can break someone. The emotional weight pressed on me. Sadness for the life I lost, anger at his deceit. But amidst it all, a spark of empowerment grew. I wasn't the victim anymore. I was the architect of justice. And as I lay in bed that night, staring at the ceiling, I whispered to myself, "This ends on my terms." What came next would test every ounce of my strength. To understand the depth of this betrayal, you need to know how it all began. Alex and I met 5 years ago at a mutual friend's wedding. He was the charismatic groomsman with a laugh that lit up the room, and I was the bridesmaid feeling a bit out of place. Our eyes locked during the reception, and by the end of the night, we were dancing like we'd known each other forever. "You're different," he told me as we swayed to the music. Real, genuine. I blushed, feeling seen for the first time in ages. From that moment, our story unfolded like a fairy tale. Dates turned into weekends away, and within a year, he proposed on a beach at sunset, the waves crashing as witnesses. I said yes without hesitation, dreaming of a future filled with love and adventure. We built our life together brick by brick. Alex worked as a marketing executive, climbing the ranks with his sharp mind and charm. I supported him through late nights and stressful pitches while pursuing my own passion in design. Our home was a cozy haven, a 2-story house in the suburbs with a garden I tended to religiously. Weekends were for lazy brunches, movie marathons, and planning trips we'd take someday. Friends envied us. They called us the power couple. But looking back, were there signs I missed? Subtle ones, like how he'd zone out during conversations or check his phone obsessively. I chalked it up to work stress. How naive I was. The trust we shared felt unbreakable, or so I thought. We vowed loyalty in our wedding ceremony, surrounded by loved ones cheering us on. Through thick and thin, he promised, his eyes locked on mine. Little did I know, those words were hollow. As our marriage progressed, small conflicts arose, but nothing major. Money talks about saving for a family, debates over chores, the usual. Alex always smoothed things over with his wit, making me laugh until the tension dissolved. One memory stands out. Our first anniversary. He surprised me with a weekend getaway to a cabin in the woods. We hiked, cooked together, and talked about kids someday. "I can't wait to build a family with you," he said, holding me close by the fire. My heart swelled with joy. But now knowing the truth, that memory twists into something painful. Was Sarah already in the picture then? The thought sends chills down my spine. I poured my soul into this relationship, sacrificing career opportunities to support his. And for what? To be discarded like yesterday's news? The setup of our life was picture perfect on the surface. Social media posts showed us smiling at events, vacations in exotic places, but beneath it, cracks were forming. Alex started traveling more for work, leaving me alone with my thoughts. I'd call him at night, hearing the exhaustion in his voice, or was it guilt? "Miss you, babe," he'd say, but the words felt rehearsed. I pushed doubts aside, focusing on the good. Our circle of friends grew, including colleagues from his firm. That's how I met Sarah briefly at a company picnic. She seemed nice, ambitious, with a sharp sense of humor. Alex praised her work ethic. "She's a star," he said. If only I knew the stars he saw in her eyes. The conflict simmered quietly, building like a storm on the horizon. I trusted him blindly, believing in our bond. But trust, as I learned, can be a fragile thing. The conflict didn't erupt overnight. It crept in like shadows at dusk. After our second anniversary, Alex's behavior shifted subtly. He became distant, buried in his phone during dinners I prepared with care. Work, emails, he'd mutter, not meeting my eyes. I'd nod, swallowing the unease. Our intimate moments grew rare, excuses piling up like unread messages. "Tired from the day," he'd say, rolling over in bed. The sadness weighed on me. I missed the man who once couldn't keep his hands off me. Was it me? Had I changed? Self-doubt gnawed at my confidence, making me question everything. One evening, after a particularly long day, I suggested a date night. "Let's reconnect," I pleaded. He agreed, but his enthusiasm was forced. At the restaurant, his phone buzzed incessantly. When he stepped away to take a call, I glanced at the screen. Sarah's name flashed. My heart skipped. "Just a work thing," he explained upon returning. But the seed of doubt was planted. That night, lying awake, I replayed our life. The promotions he got, the trips he took, were they all covers? The anger simmered, but I held back, not wanting to accuse without proof. Instead, I started paying attention. Lipstick on a collar? No, too cliche. But perfume lingering on his shirts, not mine. Receipts for lunches in places he never mentioned. Each discovery built the tension, like a thriller movie where you know the twist is coming. Friends noticed too. At a group gathering, Lisa pulled me aside. "You okay? You seem off." I confided a little, tears welling up. "I think something's wrong with Alex." She hugged me, promising support. But the real conflict was internal. My heart versus my head. Love whispered to give him a chance. Logic screamed to investigate. I chose the latter, hiring a discreet private investigator friend of a friend. Just to ease my mind, I told myself. The reports came in waves. Photos of Alex and Sarah at cafes holding hands. My world tilted. The shock was visceral, like a cold shower on a winter morning. How could he? We'd built so much. The betrayal loomed, but I needed more to confront it head on. As the evidence mounted, so did my emotional turmoil. Nights were sleepless, filled with what-ifs. What if I left? What if I stayed and fought? The suspense of uncertainty kept me on edge. One day, I followed him after work, heart racing like a spy in a movie. He met her at a park, their embrace confirming my fears. I drove home in tears, the pain raw and unrelenting, but amidst the hurt, a resolve formed. This wasn't the end, it was a turning point. The conflict peaked when I realized I couldn't live in denial anymore. Betrayal was knocking, and I had to answer. The betrayal unfolded on a crisp autumn day, one I'll never forget. I'd gathered enough evidence to confront Alex, but I wanted undeniable proof. That evening, he said he had a late meeting. I nodded, kissing him goodbye, but my plan was set. I tracked his phone's location, something I'd learned from online tutorials. It led to a hotel downtown, not his office. My pulse thundered as I parked across the street, watching him enter with Sarah on his arm. They laughed, oblivious to the storm brewing. I waited, minutes feeling like hours, suspense thick in the air. Finally, I entered the lobby, heart in throat. The receptionist confirmed his room after I showed our marriage license. Desperate times. Up the elevator, each floor ding heightened the drama. At the door, I knocked firmly. Silence. Then shuffling. Alex opened it, shirt unbuttoned, face paling. Emily? What are you? Behind him, Sarah froze, wrapping a sheet around herself. The shock hit like lightning. How could you? I whispered, voice breaking. He stammered excuses. It's not what it looks like. But it was exactly that. The room spun. Betrayal's sting was sharper than any knife. I didn't yell. Instead, I laid out the evidence. Photos, emails, recordings. Sarah dressed quickly, muttering apologies, slipping out. Alex fell to his knees. I'm sorry, Em. It just happened. Just happened? For a year. The anger surged, but I held composure. You destroyed us, I said calmly. He begged for forgiveness, promising to end it, but trust was gone, evaporated like morning dew. The emotional wreckage was immense. Sadness for lost years, rage at his deceit. How do you rebuild from ashes? Leaving that hotel, I felt numb, yet empowered. The betrayal was complete, but my story wasn't. In the aftermath, I moved out temporarily to Lisa's place, needing space to breathe. The sadness enveloped me like a fog. Days of crying, questioning my worth. Why wasn't I enough? I asked the mirror. But slowly, anger replaced despair. Alex called nonstop, leaving voicemails of regret. Please, let's talk. I ignored them, focusing on healing. Therapy sessions helped, unpacking the emotional layers. The betrayal wasn't just about him. It exposed my blind spots in love. Friends rallied around me, sharing stories of similar heartbreaks. You're strong, Emily, they said. It fueled me. I dove into work, channeling pain into creativity. Designs flowed like never before, earning praise from clients. But nights brought back the hurt. Memories of our happy times twisted into nightmares. The conflict within raged. Forgive or fight. Forgiveness felt weak. Justice called louder. As weeks turned to months, I formulated a plan. Not destructive, but exposing. Their affair violated company policy. Alex as her superior. I gathered more proof anonymously. The suspense of execution kept me going. What if it backfired? But the risk was worth it. The revenge plan started with research. I learned about whistleblower protections, ensuring my anonymity. Their company had a strict anti-fraternization rule, especially with power dynamics. Alex had promoted Sarah unfairly, bypassing qualified candidates. I compiled a dossier, emails showing favoritism, timelines of their affair, overlapping promotions, no violence, just truth. I consulted a lawyer friend for advice. Send it anonymously to HR, she suggested, but I wanted more impact. I created a fake email attaching everything, including audio, of them discussing work perks from the affair. The moral dilemma hit. Was this right? Betrayal justified it, I decided. Suspense built as I refined the plan, imagining their faces. To add layers, I tipped off a workplace gossip blog, ensuring wide exposure without hate. The plan was set for a company event where promotions were announced. The timing? Perfect for maximum shock. Waiting for the plan to unfold was torture. Days dragged, filled with what-ifs. Would HR act? Would Alex suspect me? I kept up appearances, even meeting him for closure coffee. He looked haggard, pleading for reconciliation. I ended it with Sarah. Too late, I thought, but said nothing. The emotional undercurrents, relief mixed with lingering sadness, kept the story gripping. Rumors started circulating at his office. I heard through mutual friends, "Something big is coming." My heart raced. The buildup was like a movie thriller, tension mounting. One night, Alex called in panic. Have you heard anything?" I feigned ignorance, curiosity high. The cliffhanger loomed. When would the hammer fall? The climax hit at the company gala. I attended as a guest, blending in. HR had investigated. Whispers spread. During announcements, the CEO paused. "We have an update on recent promotions." Then, the bombshell. Alex and Sarah's affair exposed. Promotions revoked. Gasps filled the room. Alex's face drained of color. Sarah fled in tears. He spotted me, eyes widening in realization. "You?" he whispered. I smiled, faintly. "Justice." The room buzzed with shock. Friends texted me later. "Unbelievable." The revenge was clean, no one hurt physically, but careers shaken. Relief washed over me. The weight lifted. Post-climax, resolution came swiftly. Alex lost his job. Sarah transferred. I filed for divorce, emerging stronger. Friends supported, some speechless at my poise. The emotional journey from betrayal to triumph reshaped me. I started a blog on healing from infidelity, helping others, but reflections lingered. Was revenge worth it? It brought closure, but taught caution in trust. In the end, this story isn't just about revenge. It's a moral tale. Betrayal hurts, but it reveals strength. Don't let pain define you. Channel it into growth. Trust wisely. Love fiercely, but protect your heart. My life now? Fuller, freer. And Alex? He learned the hard way that actions have consequences. Remember, justice comes in many forms, often leaving everyone speechless